honored to have Stephen Baffic, council member candidate for District 5.
Yes, sir.
Because Stockbridge just switched over to district. So
yes, sir.
A lot of people are curious on how this is going to work because they were at large for such a long time.
Yeah, so each area of the city was broken up as separate districts, 1 through 5. And my district focuses mostly on the southern part of the city and some unincorporated parts of the city. If you look, you can go to the city website and look at the map. A lot of islands in it, mostly concentrating on some of the bigger subdivisions within the southern part of Stockbridge.
Yeah, I saw that map, and it was funny how they broke that up, because I thought what they did in that last election was to fill in all the holes, and it doesn't look like that happened.
No, it doesn't. I don't have any situational awareness on what the thinking was behind that map, but that's what we got to work with now.
So, Steve, it sounds like you have a radio voice, but who actually is Stephen Baffic?
So I'm a 19-year resident of Stockbridge. My wife of 31 years, we moved here in 2004, and I have a 21-year-old daughter. I'm a proud girl dad. I've been a board-certified physician assistant with a master's degree for the last 24 years practicing medicine. I transitioned out of emergency medicine into veterans disability exams. I'm a lieutenant colonel in the Georgia Air National Guard. This summer, I hit 39 years in the military. About the last decade of my service has been in senior executive leadership. I spent a little over 3.5 years as a squadron commander. I was the medical director during our COVID response at Joint Forces Headquarters at Dobbins for the Air National Guard response to COVID. So we had the opportunity to sound out a lot of medics, nurses, doctors, PAs, all across the state. So our team that I led had an incredible impact on tens of thousands of Georgians during the pandemic.
So you actually led things.
I do. I've had, it's been an amazing career. I always say it's the best job I've ever had. Served a lot of great Americans over my career. I'm not done yet. I probably got a couple more years or so left in me, and then we'll wrap it up. So it's been wonderful.
Steve, I was going to ask you a question that used to be important to voters, and that question is what makes you qualified? I think you answered that in a nutshell. I think what has happened not only in the city of Stockbridge, but in Henry County as a whole, people have found out that you can get a check by becoming popular. And I think that has led to a downgrade in our communities.
So I think I have a history of tested leadership. And as I transition out of my military career in the next year or so or two, I'd like to take that same skill set and apply it to city leadership and city politics.
You're still serving, right?
Oh, yes. Okay. I'm still in the Air National Guard.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I have drill weekend coming up next November. I was the Georgia Department of Defense Innovator of the Year.
Wow.
In that same year, I was nationally recognized as the Air National Guard Biomedical Clinician of the Year. And from my deployments in combat, I was awarded the United States Air Force Air Medal, which is for flying combat sorties while in theater.
What made you pick Stockbridge?
I had a friend that lived in Cumming, and I came down to visit a few times and interviewed at a few local places. Thought, wow, I want to move to the Atlanta area. And Stockbridge at the time was, to me, a semi-rural suburban area. So you had all the amenities in the city within, well, back then it was 30 minutes. Now it's probably more like an hour. You had all the amenities of a city, but you still kind of had that rural, somewhat country life. Right. So that really attracted us there. And then the housing prices are markedly different than they are in the Northeast, as you probably know.
Yes.
So that's what prompted us to move here.
We have similar stories. I came down here in 2000 for a pharmacy conference.
Okay.
I was director of national accounts with Johnson & Johnson, and I moved from Minneapolis. It was 65 below wind chill in Minneapolis when I came down in December, and it was 80 degrees here. 3 months later, we sold our house up there, and we moved down to Atlanta. And I got to tell you this, when I was at the conference and I called a real estate agent, they took me to Alpharetta. They took me to all the places up north. Since I was flying every day, I said, well, let me stay overnight in that area and see if I can make it to the airport. 2-3 hours to get to the airport. I said, I can't do it.
Sure.
Show me someplace close to the airport. And the house that they showed me in Henry County was the house that I purchased, and I'm still in that home.
Same. Moved into the same house we purchased in 2004. We're still there. In fact, funny story, the winter we left New Jersey, there were 13 ice storms, and I left the snow shovels hanging in the garage when I left.
Me
So
too.
I was happy to leave all that. I've had snow up to my knees.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, 100%.
You're running for the city of Stockbridge, and there has to be things that that you want to change as a councilman.
I don't always know what's going on, one, and there's some things that have happened without my input as a citizen. I recently found out that the city council was voted a 67% raise on their annual salary for what they do for serving the council. We never had a voice in that.
What do you mean you never had a voice in it?
That was never brought to our attention. That was even being voted for. It may have happened at a city meeting.
It wasn't announced, or
we didn't get
release?
We didn't get to vote. Like, do we think that the city council should get a raise?
Okay.
So I kind of have a hard time with that because I don't know anybody gets a 67% raise. If I asked my employer for that, they would tell me to take a walk. We have a police department, and it's still under development, and it seems like it's having somewhat of an impact. However, that was never voted on. We were just told one day, you're going to have a police department. I think we're going to have to start paying the bill on that in some aspects.
Oh, you are?
I think so. I'm not 100%, but I'm seeing the taxes start to go up, and I don't know if that's 100% the police department.
I know that Stockbridge implemented a millage rate increase.
Correct.
From 0 to somewhere between 3 or 4 mills on the citizens. I had heard that the citizens that were annexed into the cities will be paying a little bit more than the current citizens. So you will have additional taxes in the city of Stockbridge.
Correct. It's been pretty impactful on people, as you know, because inflation's been on a national level has been killing us. Home interest rates just went up to 8%. I don't think I could afford to move right now, even if I wanted to.
None of us could.
To do that, because I mean, when we got our interest rates back in 2004, it was in the low 2-3%. I mean, we got great interest rates back then. So.
The price of gas is going up.
True, and
we're entering into the winter months, so the heating bills are going to be sky high. So this is a tough time to be paying more taxes,
and that drops the beginning of November for people. So right around election time, interesting.
So, what's your thoughts on accountability when it comes to government?
I think we need to be transparent. One of the first things I would like to do is to have an audit, because as a candidate, I really don't have good situational awareness on where the city is financially. I mean, we hear numbers reported through meetings, and we see stuff posted online and in articles, but I don't really have a true, as we'd say in the military, 30,000-foot view of where we're at. I think that would help me make better decisions on where we go forward once I know our financial situation. People need to know what their representatives are doing and what they're voting for.
I don't see full disclosure when it comes to the budget. I see them just telling us, hey, this is the number, and they're not telling us what the line items are and why we're paying for certain things. And that is a huge change from where things used to be in the county.
About 4 years ago, I noticed a lot of building close to my subdivision, and there was some townhomes going up behind my subdivision. And one of the city council persons mentioned about how they were going to be high-end, high quality on social media. And I responded and said, hey, do you think we could just pump the brakes, slow our roll? Everywhere I look, we're knocking down trees and losing green space. And I got a surprising reply, and it was, you can't stop progress. If you don't like it, you can move.
Wow.
Henry County has
This is a person that works for you?
Yes, sir. Still does. Henry County has a history of trying to keep black people out, but we came anyway. So
that's unfortunate.
My response to that was, I don't see the relevance of this. All I'm talking about is, hey, we're overdoing it. Like we're running out of space. Can we just kind of pump the brakes? But the more I thought about it, I thought, well, I could open up my mouth and maybe make a difference.
That's the only way you can really make a difference is open your mouth. We're seeing a lot of citizens not opening their mouths, and we're seeing the county, going into a decline. And so I'm so happy to see citizens like yourself that want to serve and also aren't afraid to speak up for the betterment of our entire community.
So I don't see a lot of what we call unity of command in the county between the city and other cities. So, I mean, I know you're running for city or commissioner.
Yes.
We could work together.
Definitely.
I can, one of my skills in the military as a commander was to bring my team together. So you have to compromise and be able to listen to other people so you understand where they're coming from and not just push your agenda or your thoughts. So I think if we can get the county, the city, and why not other cities in the county, if we could all work together,
Well, Steve,
we could do a lot more good.
That's easy to do, but it takes two sides to do it.
Correct, and I feel like they're operating kind of in a vacuum right now, or what we call stovepiping. I'm just going to do what I'm going to do here.
Correct.
And I'm not going to involve these other guys.
Well, I think it's even deeper than that. I mean, you've served for years, so you know the meaning of service. It's we versus me.
And that's my exact phrase, Bruce. You hit it around the head. This is about we, not me.
Correct.
It's not about Stephen Baffic. It's about District 5, the city of Stockbridge, the community trying to work together as one to make a better place to live. And that's what we all, at the end of the day, we all want a better place to live that's safe for our families, that's healthy for our families, and that's affordable for our families.
If we're focused on the we, Steve, then everything else becomes easy.
Yes, sir.
Working together becomes easy. Defining what needs to be done in the city and the county becomes easy. But if it's just about yourself and just about taking credit to build yourself up, then it becomes really difficult. I'll give you a perfect example. Years ago, I was looking at developing the Fairview area. We were bringing some healthcare into the community. I had a neighbor next door that died, and it took a long time to send an ambulance up to this area. And the reason why it took a long time is because the ambulance got caught up with the train. So I said, we need an urgent care in this area. So we went out to find an urgent care, and we wanted to develop a quick pathway to the Piedmont emergency room, just in case, there were some health issues in this particular area. So I worked together with the city council, Stockbridge at the time, to put the Rock Quarry East Atlanta Road extension into SPLOS. That would have gave us quick access to the Rock Quarry Bridge, something else that the county did a number of years ago, straight to the emergency room. We came up with an idea about developing a new downtown around that 4-lane extension. And then when the council changed, they had no interest in moving forward with that project. The county had in a few million, Stockbridge promised a few million. That project just fell by the wayside. That would have been a great project for the city. But that council and the commissioners at the time were thinking about the well-being of citizens as a whole, not themselves and not taking credit.
And I see that when I listen to some of the meetings. Of course, over the past few years, I've taken more of an interest since my interaction. We can take credit for a good work as a body. You don't have to be the smartest guy in the room, is what I learned as a commander, but you got to know all the smart people.
Definitely.
So if we could
you want to be around the smart people.
Correct. They make you smarter.
Correct.
But it can't be that hard to come together and work together towards one common goal.
Now, you've been doing a great job with your campaign. I've been following you and actually saw you standing by one of the election sites.
Yes, sir.
And it got a little aggressive. And in the video, you handled yourself very well, and I couldn't really understand what was going on there.
So I have a great team, and the amazing thing about the team I have is we all met on Nextdoor. It's a ragtag group of just, I like to say, great Americans. So we were at the polling place, myself, my campaign manager. They got into an interaction with Councilman Alexander and one of his volunteers, and it got heated, and some words were said, and it almost came to pushing and shoving, and fortunately, cooler heads prevailed. I stay as far away as possible from behavior like that.
We're all doing our duty of running to serve. I mean, there really isn't a reason why we should be arguing. The voters are going to choose who they're going to choose.
In fact, my two opponents, both Mr. Antonio Harris is on the ballot. I reached out to him, went and met him, wished him luck. We had a really great exchange. Earlier that same day, I saw Councilman Alexander at the polling place, and I wished him good luck as well. It's about what the people want, and as part of my military service, I've supported that right or that privilege of people being able to choose who they want. So at the end of all this, the people of Stockbridge, District 5, are going to choose who they think is best to represent them.
Everybody wants to run. And they make all these promises about what they're going to do, how they're going to improve things, they're going to make this particular area a Peachtree City. Then they get in office, and the first thing they do is blame everybody else on why nothing is getting done. What kind of leader are you going to be as a city council?
Well, first of all, like I said earlier, transparent. Not everyone's going to like the decisions that you make. but you need to be decisive. And you make decisions based upon the best information you can gather at that time. I don't think I could promise anybody anything other than I will represent them to the best of my ability, and I'll listen to them.
But you're going to fight for lower taxes.
Absolutely.
That's definitely what I'm going to do. I'll tell you that.
And maybe we can even work together on some of that.
We will. We definitely will.